To the UnTac.
Alright, we are live. Hello, and welcome to the UnTap Open League. This is Legacy, whatever the last season was. Finals, yeah. And we're going to have a pretty good match today. We got Fun Phoenix versus Viperfang, Humans and Lands.
Yeah, I think two of the decks that were most prevalent in the top 8 here, I think there was 2 copies of each of them.
It's really interesting. Humans is definitely an up-and-coming deck, while Lands definitely that established deck, but Humans, very, very interesting deck.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's interesting. I think a lot of decks have been kind of moving from modern to legacy, and that's not something you see as much. But I think that, we've kind of seen the Eldrazi flavors lately. I think we've been seeing Cloudburst Eldrazi, and that's kind of a take on Tron Eldrazi. We've been seeing the Humans decks. I've been seeing Phoenix decks. I think, the power level is becoming a little bit more balanced across the older formats, and I think that some things have been moving backwards, whereas usually we see, oh, here's the modern version of a legacy deck.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think, partially a testament to the increasing power level in modern of these creature decks. We're starting to see the power level of that eclipse some of these legacy creatures, so it's starting to subsume that, Legacy just has more powerful everything, where now Modern has more powerful creatures. Legacy kind of still generally has more powerful spells, but it's definitely a really cool and fascinating process to watch.
Yeah, and so I was also on Humans in the top 8 here, so I can definitely talk a fair bit about the deck, and I'm happy to talk about Tomek, but right now let's jump into the game, where we've got, looks like fairly reasonable. So,
Yeah, there's the
what, we're
mole.
looking, what, are we, what are we looking for here? What do you know of this matchup? Okay, so
So I've definitely played a decent bit of lands. That land stands perfectly fine. Mox Diamond into turn 1 exploration or life from the loam. Punishing Fire is available. Crop rotation to get Silver Bolt's really good. Mulligan on the other side from a 1-lander into this 2-land hand, I think it's very reasonable, especially with double Meddling Mage and a Kite Sail.
yeah, so it's definitely the matchup's tough. I think that most of the time the Humans deck is favored, but lands can get some hands where they just win on turn 1, turn 2. They're pretty uncommon, but Phoenix is pretty lucky here. I think that this is an incredible hand to have in this specific map, and if he can get 3 hands like this, he's got a good chance. Otherwise, it's going to be, we're going to get something like a Meddling Mage or this Kite Sail Freebooter. And I think the big one in the matchup is the Sanctum Prelate. You can name 2, and that
Yeah.
shuts off both Punishing Fire and the Life from the Loam, which
Yeah,
is pretty much game over.
I do love Prelate in this kind of a matchup where you can just absolutely hose someone on what they can interact with. I think it's definitely got a lot of potency in this matchup, so I think we're ready to get underway here.
So I'm taking a look at what these hands are going to play out like. So I can see, there's an obvious, they'll play the turn 1 Noble Hierarch, hope to go into one of these disruptive spells turn 2. That's not bad. The only way you can really get a better hand is if you've got one of the starts that has your Vial in it, of course, Aether Vial. On the other hand, though, it looks like, Mox Diamond, he could play this Life from the Loam on turn 1. No, he would need another land for that, so he can't.
He can land Mox Diamond turn 1. He's got 2 lands in hand, so you
Sure,
play the
yeah,
Taiga,
he
pitch
land Mox
the...
Diamond, he wouldn't Exploration in that case, but that's
Yeah.
probably fine. That means he discards one of them to the Diamond, and get it right back, and then he'll be ready to Dredge on the next turn, which is probably perfectly fine.
Yeah, I think it's probably more likely to see that sort of a lineup. So
Yeah, so we still need to see a decent Dredge there. He really needs to hit one more land so he can bring it back, hit 3 lands, and go off with his crop rotation and Dustine stage. But if you can do that, then it's going to be pretty strong. So
yeah,
okay, here we've given them the go ahead, and there they're going to go.
pitching the
So
Taiga is interesting.
The Taiga.
So Loam already going to buy back Taiga. I'm a little bit surprised by that, showing that that's being staged this early, but probably fine.
I mean, he would have shown it either way because he'd be discarding it and bringing it into his hand.
I definitely like keeping that in hand more, but I am not the lands master. That would be fun, Phoenix. So this is definitely going to be turn 1 of these 5-color lands. Ancient Ziggurat into a Noble Hierarch. Easy.
Yeah, so that's interesting. There's a little bit of risk going with the Ziggurat versus the running out the unclaimed territory. If it's got something vernacular right away, this Ziggurat can't pay for mana for that, although I guess he could just tap his Hierarch to keep it around.
Yep, looks like we got a Dredge on Loam, or on a Ghost Quarter here, potentially.
1 land, and that's really what he's hoping for. Now, Ghost Quarter is huge. I'm going to do a quick double check, but I don't believe that Viper is playing any basic lands in it, so that means that is just a
Strip
a
mine.
wasteland.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, strip mine.
absolutely. We're strip mining here. So leading on the punishing fire here on Noble Hierarch, slowing down that mana development, I think it's a perfectly reasonable play. Into exploration, really start that engine up. Although interestingly,
He could also hold
yeah.
up mana and be able to crop rotation later. Okay, so he's going to go for the exploration. His other option would be to hold up, be able to crop rotation, and have, you know, he could have both parts of the Dark Depths and Thespian Sage combo, although he wouldn't have the mana then to be able to play it. So let's see what he means with Meddling Mage.
This is probably going to be a Life from the Loam. It's the
That's
one.
what I would
Okay.
expect. That
Oh,
should
it
be
is the punishing fire. So we're gonna shut off interaction and say you can have your engine piece this turn.
So
Just
he's
very
saying, I hope
interesting.
you don't have a second punishing fire. I know.
It doesn't matter if he
other
has the
follow
second.
The rest of it later.
It doesn't matter if he has the second because it shuts it off from being cast.
Yes, so that's what I'm saying. Is he was counting on. He's worried. The thing he was most worried about was a second punishing fire. So we decided, okay, I'm going to shut off the second punishing fire if he has it, and that stops me from, you know, anything else worse happening.
So loaming back Ghost Quarter, Grove, and Fetch Land.
Oh, so it looks like
fine.
he hit a second loam from the first one, and that one hit 3 lands with the mill for it. So that is huge. Well, let's see what we're gonna. All right, so we're gonna see the Ghost Quarter go. He's got the exploration in place, so he can't replay it right this second, but he can go ahead and crop rotate. Now,
Ooh,
that's
Tabby. Yes, I do like Tabby. There is no way for this Meddling Mage to be around, so it's a really good play.
So that's exactly what I was talking about in that for being otherwise completely equal, the unclaimed territory is a lot better than the Ziggurat here. So that kind of
Yeah, this Ziggurat,
messes up.
yeah.
That cannot be used for
Yep, can only be used to cast spells, not to pay for static abilities here. So, we may or may not see a quick judge call on that. But this
Yeah, and I'm happy to jump in as a judge if we need it.
should be fairly straightforward. Yep, Ziggurat only able to pay for that, so that's going to be able to rebuy a Punishing Fire end of turn, and then start looking at the strip mines.
That he pretty much drew the nuts here, and that's kind of what he's going to need to get a few times in this matchup, evens with all of this going on.
Humans does have to play a very control-y version on the control deck of lands, which is a very interesting place to be. Humans usually wants to be kind of tempo-y, but it has to pretty well contain all these different threats from lands.
Yeah, and I think that when we go to sideboarding after Game 2, we're going to talk a little bit about that, because I think that what's most likely going to come out is a couple of the more aggro pieces, things like the 1-drops, 2-drops maybe. So maybe the Thalia's Lieutenant, maybe the Champion of Parish, and just keep more of the controlling things.
There's
shut down the game.
the quick scoop. Realize he's locked out between Life from the Loam, Tabernacle, and being able to play 2 lands per turn there.
Yeah, so he's able to strip mine him every turn there, so there's no way to get back into that.
So we are going into Game 2 very quickly. 1 game up for fun, Phoenix here.
Yeah, and even with a short game like that, there were a couple of points where some choices mattered. I think that naming Life from the Loam might have been a better choice for Viperfang, and I also do think that leading with the Ancient Ziggurat versus the Unclaimed Territory actually bit him in the exact way that I said it might. And
so definitely a little itty bitty decision points matter. So I think Phoenix's hand is pretty good here.
Yeah, so this is another incredible hand actually. So he's got the exploration, he's got the crop rotation. He also has this gamble, which essentially means that he's going to have
Life from
Loam.
Yep. And that was a mulligan on the other side, which I'm not shocked about.
I didn't get a chance to look through that. It looked reasonable to me, but I didn't get a chance to go through it.
It had multiple cards that didn't really interact very well versus the lands deck, so I think looking for more interaction in the form of more Meddling Mage, more Prelates, Thalia, is certainly reasonable.
Now, what about this hand here? So he's only got 1 shot at the land, and he's only running, let me give a quick number for everyone. Yes, he's running 22 lands.
I think it's reasonable. I think you gotta try it.
Yeah, that's 22 lands.
Yeah, I think you gotta try it. The other hand was just much worse in terms of not being able to interact very well. So this hand has 3 different ways to interact very, very well with lands. So
yeah, no, this is going to be interesting. He's got the port right away, which is a soft way to shut down the lands here.
Ooh, top deck land. There we go.
That's what we need to see. Yeah, without seeing that, I would have been very worried. Now, I didn't get a chance to actually check if he mulligan or he scried and got that to the top.
Let's see.
Okay, so yes, he did keep that on top.
Yeah, so he knew. Yeah.
So in a way, it's 2 looks at that second land in order to keep him in the game.
I think
And without that,
perfectly.
he'd have been in real trouble. So now right here, he's got options. He can go with Thalia and hope to slow something down. I think that's risky just because of the exploration here. I might not dislike Meddling Mage naming Punishing Fire, which would actually pay off very well in this specific situation.
I think it's Mage. I don't know whether or not you name Punishing Fire or Life from the Loam and say I want to shut you down this way versus that way. It's kind of a 50-50, and I think the thinking is going to be Mage depending on what he wants to name. No, it's going to be the Thalia. All right.
Oh, so that's actually going to bite him really hard here. So he has both the Caracas to bounce the Thalia. He also has the Punishing Fire, which he'd be able to play this turn on the Champion of the Parish, which did not swing.
It did not swing. That was probably just a miss here. All right, so we have Dark Depths. We can
Now
not
let's see. We
quite
could play
crop.
Dark Depths and be
Yeah,
able to crop rotation into.
1 mana short there.
Hang on, let me check. So he can Grove to. He can use Grove to cast the crop rotation, grab the Thespian stage, and have Caracas and Richard Port to pay for it. So he does have the ability to do it this turn.
Oh, he does. Okay. I'm dumb forgetting to swing, says Viperfang. We all do it sometimes.
No, actually, he can't do that because of the one additional.
Yes,
mana
the
he
one
paid
the one
Thalia.
man from
Thank you.
Thalia, yeah. Thalia attacks. There's the 1 mana short. So I think
So he has the option now if he wants to Caracas the Thalia back to the hand and slow him down,
all right,
or
so
if he just wants to kill it with fire.
yeah, it looks like we are going to get a bounce one way or another. Whether or not it comes on this turn's a curious question. Yeah, he's going to pass it back and look to bounce back the Thalia next turn.
Well, he can either
Probably.
bounce it, or he can also cast this Punishing Fire, but he could also do both, which is interesting.
Yeah,
I think if he goes for another creature here, pretty much any creature, that's the most likely play.
yeah, I think we're going to bounce Thalia inside of combat, kill the champion with a trigger on the stack.
Yes, that's what I would expect here. So he wants to make sure to do it with the Meddling Mage on the stack,
Yep.
and not the Meddling Mage in play, because then it would get the naming when on land card.
Yeah, so it would definitely be very bad to let this Meddling Mage resolve. Bounce Thalia, Punishing Fire, you gain a life, Viperfang. Yup. So, up to 22. Merit Lage is no longer one shot, but pretty easy to mop up with double Punishing Fire.
Yeah,
Or
Punishing
just,
Fire to face
or
is
just
pretty
2
good.
attacks. Alright, so Mage resolves.
It's not, it's definitely worth noting that there are quite a few ways to take care of Merit Lodge within the Human's deck, and I think that's another thing that makes this matchup important. So within the main deck, he's got the 2 Reflector Mage, and he has the 2 Caracas, as well as, so he doesn't have any of the exile creatures in the main board, it looks like. Sideboard, he has... So he has Palace Jailer, one of, and that's really it. So the version I was playing against Fun Phoenix, I got extremely unlucky, but I had quite a few more ways to take care of that Mirror Lodge.
Yeah, I think it's definitely very reasonable to rely on just that few numbers because of the Imperial recruiters and things like that to be able to grab them, especially having that silver
it's
bullet
also
ability.
I guess I should probably also count the Wastelands that he's running.
Yeah, Wasteland's another great way to just, hey, cool, nix it in the activation stage. Don't even let the Merit Lage on the field. Pass back crop rotation. This is grabbing Tabernacle. I do like this. So he's got the ability to really start hammering away at some of this. Ooh, do we play another exploration or do we crop? Or not crop, or
So
life
the
in the
second
loam?
exploration doesn't do a lot without any lands in hand here. He only has the 1 in the graveyard. So grabbing the Tabernacle rather than going for a Merit Lodge here is interesting. Let's see where he can go with this. So right now Punishing Fire is offline. He needs a way to take care of this Meddling Mage.
Exploration number 2 is going to be the play.
Yeah, what I might have liked to see is a gamble here for a Wasteland of some sort. Either
Yeah,
a Wasteland or probably just Wasteland.
I think just straight Wasteland with the ability to life from the loom.
Yeah, because that means he could get rid of the Cavern, which is the only thing that was keeping the Meddling Mage alive at the moment.
So yeah, tapping down all the lands. Here's Meddling Mage alone. Gonna have to do 18 damage right now. Does not seem very likely.
And a
Second
Ancient Ziggurat
Ziggurat.
doesn't do a ton here.
Yeah, that's not the draw you want to see when you're trying to pay for Tabernacle.
Yeah, what he's definitely looking for is a wasteland, trying to get rid of that tabernacle, although with a Life from the Loam in hand, that's not going to go great. So I wonder if he'll go here for that play I'm just talking about. I guess the awkwardness is
Yep,
that
there's
he only has
gamble.
the 1 red mana, he couldn't do this and Life from the Loam, so if
It
he
doesn't matter
loses
what he
the,
discards right now, though. That's the thing. I think this is the perfect opportunity because everything that he cares about pitching, he can either get back or gets itself back. So I think this is
yes,
slightly
yes,
better of an
I
opportunity.
completely agree. I do agree. I was only saying that it wasn't as fast to do it last
No.
turn because he wouldn't have been able to Life from the Loam it back if he lost
Ooh,
at that point.
Ghost Quarter, yeah. So Wasteland effectively.
Yep, in this matchup it's going to be Wasteland, so let's see here what he discards.
Discards
Okay,
it.
so he discards the
Unfortunate.
Wasteland. So that's the one that he really didn't want to see, but should work out fine in another turn.
Passes back, says pay for my tabernacle. Uses cavern, tap down the other land. So if he can draw, he cannot, yeah. There's not a lot that he can draw here that actually gets him out of this lock, I don't think.
I mean, without knowing about the Life from the Loam, a Wasteland would have gotten him there, but with it in with the hand that we've seen.
Yeah. Here's Loam, grab back Ghost Quarter, grab back, I believe there was something else, yeah, Dark Depths of the Yard.
Mm-hmm. So he'll be able to throw both of those in play. Now, he could also Ghost Quarter himself if he's interested in getting another land for this crop rotation.
I think he's going to be more interested, yeah, Ghost Quarter away his opponent's last land that can pay for Tabernacle activations, and he can pretty well freely from here roll into a Merit Lage at some point, and there's the scoop.
Yeah.
So, post-board, what are we looking at from each of these decks?
All right, so let's take a look at the losing deck here first. So I was just talking about, that Palace Jailer. It's pretty reasonable. It gets rid of Merit Lodge, and if he just plays it as a card draw, that's not the worst thing in the world. Now, these Knight of Autumns, I think, are pretty reasonable. We didn't see the Molten Vortex come down, but that can be a nasty card in the matchup. And we're also worried about a couple of these things like the Exploration. It's nice to be able to maybe tag an explosives. So there's a couple things in there that can do well.
Do you think this is a surgical? I think this is the surgical matchup, personally.
Yes, it's 100% a surgical matchup. Probably the Fairy Macabre too. If he's got him in here, I'd expect them to come in. And I definitely want this Last Sanctum Prelate. So that's quite a few cards that he wants to bring in. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7, 8 that he maybe or definitely want in. Now this Champion of Parish, I'd be happy to get rid of in this specific
Boarding
matchup.
them out 100%, definitely.
The Thalia's Lieutenant are a little bit stronger. I don't automatically want to get rid of those. The first one I would go to here is this extra Orzhov Pontiff. That's not particularly useful.
I would agree.
After that, he has some options. So he only has the 2 recruiters, so that makes some of the fun of one-ofs a little bit more difficult. I would probably still keep... So I'd keep those. The Reflector Mage I'm probably keeping.
I definitely want to keep Reflector Mage. There's times where it can buy tempo in a race.
So he's kind of got to trim 2 to 3 cards. A Thalia's Lieutenant is reasonable. A Mother of Runes is reasonable.
I think a
I think
Mother
those
is
can work.
pretty reasonable here. It can help against Punishing Fires. It can help stop a Merit Lage one time, but it's not, generally speaking, the best matchup for it.
Yeah, I mean, it can wall Merit Lodge if you've got a Freebooter in play, but that's a pretty specific situation.
Yeah, a Freebooter in play and not worried about Punishing Fire, the 2 conditions there. Then on the other side, we've got, let's see,
All right.
not
So he's
much.
got a Kozilek's Return, which might
Yeah.
be reasonable. Choke is not going to do anything here. He has no islands. Sphere of Resistance isn't good enough. So the ones he's definitely going to be looking at are actually these Tireless Trackers are pretty
Yep.
reasonable. So there's not a ton of removal on the other side, and if there is any, it'll be for pretty specific situations. So that's a good way for him to build value. Like you were kind of saying, this Human's deck almost becomes a very controlling deck in the matchup. Versus what's essentially a combo deck here. So Tireless Tracker can help him play the long game. Other than that, he doesn't have a lot that comes in for the specific matchup.
Yeah, it's a pretty weak board overall. You definitely bring in the trackers. It's the traditional, oh, cool, I get, the surgicals boarded against me that they're trying to stop my life from them. I just board trackers and overrun them with a giant creature. And then I definitely am very interested in Kozilek's Return, wiping away pretty much everything. So it looks like Viper Fang says, out for Thalia's 1 Pontiff, in Prelate 2 Macabre, 2 Surgical. Interesting
Okay, so
choice.
he did not. 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 He d Hmm.
Not boarding out your 1-drops here and boarding out a card that helps tax this land deck trying to run a bunch of instants and sorceries out is a very
Oh, he
interesting
took out
choice.
the. I assume when he means Thalia, he means the lieutenants.
He said Thalia, not Thalias.
Yeah, I could see that being a confusion. We'll probably see here which one he
Yeah,
meant. I
we
wouldn't
should
expect any
see.
reason you'd worn out Thalia. The Thalia's lieutenant definitely makes sense.
Nope, there's the lieutenant. It is
Ooh.
Thalias that are out.
So I guess he's thinking is that he doesn't have the disruptive elements he needs, and he wants to go full aggro. I really don't agree. I think that if you can
Yeah.
tag a prelate naming 2, that's usually the game here. So I would much rather find a hand that I can do that reasonably and win the game through that way.
So, Fun Phoenix says he brought in 3 Tracker, a Kozilek Saturn, and a Crossing Grip, taking out the Academy Ruins Bog, 1 Loam, 1 Dark Depths, and Sylvan Library, which I think is a
Interesting.
pretty
Okay.
reasonable board.
All right, so it looks like Viper has learned a little bit of his here. He's going to start with this unclaimed territory rather than the Ziggurat.
Yeah.
And we'll go for it for the Noble Hierarch. Now, this is awkward. I mean, he can go for a Reflector Mage, but it's not going to have any targets on
Yeah.
turn 1 from the opponent here. So he might just be playing this Thalia's Lieutenant and swinging for 2 with the Noble Hierarch.
Very likely the case here, so we're gonna we're gonna discard a Thicket to Mox Diamond, probably start up this Loam train, and then be ready for Tracker on 2.
Oof, yeah, he's got the...
Exploration
got-
into Loam, yeah.
Yeah, so Viper just keeps drawing these hands that are pretty crazy here.
Yeah, if he,
Like I said, I think this matchup is pretty favorable for humans. I'd say 60, 40, 70, 30, something along those lines. Depending on the board, but
yeah, turn 1 Exploration's very good in this matchup.
yeah, any side of every game is... Alright, so let's see here. We've got... He could fire right now, he could... Oh no, that's not punishing fire, that's
It's
a
Gamble, yes. It looks like he's just gonna pass the turn back, and
Interesting.
I guess he's looking at a Ghost Quarter somewhere along here.
Yeah, I wouldn't have minded throwing out the life from the loan, be able to potentially bring it back. Maybe he's just afraid of something like the surgical turn 1.
I think in a hand where you've got this Tireless Tracker, I'm willing to take that risk, but I do not play as much. Ooh, okay, so we're gonna run out the Thalia's Lieutenant and Wasteland, it looks like.
Yeah. So the Wasteland's at least safe. Keeping it up means that he can't Ghost Quarter the Wasteland, or it'll just... So he's going to quarter his own land here in order to
Yeah.
keep... He wants to have some kind of source, like a green source.
Yeah,
I
he's
mean, I guess he had the
Mox Diamond,
so-
yeah. It looks like he's doing that because he has Loam, so he's going to be able to get all 3 of these lands back and play 2, I imagine.
Yep, that's the plan here, and that's going to be basically game.
Yeah, it's a pretty big tempo swing here, not going down that far in lands.
Alright, so he did play the Richardon Port. I mean, he still gets the 1 Wasteland, and that's all he really needs.
Yeah. So, quarter Thicket Grove, probably going to play a quarter in Strip Mine here. Nope, we're going to play a Grove and Gamble, maybe?
I mean, he could have always gambled with the Mox Diamond, so this is really strange. I don't know why he's, not using Diamond when he has the ability to. I mean, here he
Interesting.
could have, Strip Mined and also Tranquil Thicketed. He could have gambled. He's kind of playing it slowly, and I'm not sure what exactly he's afraid of.
I'm not sure either, but either way, we're going to get probably second Thalia's Lieutenant here
Oh, okay,
into
so
an
here-
attack for
here
a
actually-
bunch.
I do know one of the things that he's trying to play around here. He's really afraid of the potential of a surgical extraction, so he's trying to keep up this Tranquil Thicket in order to cycle it, which could bring back the loan, protecting it from a surgical.
Yep. So, swinging in for 5 here is pretty nice.
Yeah, that's not terrible. That's the kind of clock he needs here. So we definitely need to see something like a Tabernacle, and soon. Bringing back Life from the Loam, that seems fine. What did he hit? is the question.
Wasteland, Crucible, Crop Rotation. So, Crucible, not exactly what you want to hit, but Wasteland, a pretty good hit here with the Ghost Quarter available too. It looks like a Tireless Tracker run out first. Nope. Loam running. Okay, we're thinking.
Yeah, so he's thinking about it. So Tireless Tracker, it doesn't wall very much
Yet.
yet. It will get big enough that he'd be able to stop even a +1 Thalia's Lieutenant, but that's not perfect. We'll see what he's doing here. So I thought he had this game locked up if he had just started Ghost Quartering right away. He's playing it a lot slower than that, and we'll see how it goes. So he's keeping Viper Fang entertaining for the rest of everyone else here.
Yeah, so we're going to get Land Clue, Loam for Ghost Quarter, Cavern, maybe?
Those are the options, or he can actually start strip mining. So,
Lots of interesting little...
he could also Ghost Quarter himself again here.
Yeah, for more landfall triggers. This is a lot of things, yeah.
Yeah, so Ghost Quartering himself would mean that he'd have 2 lands he could loam and then bring back Ghost Quarter plus whatever he hit plus the Wasteland,
Here's
and be able to replay one of them.
Thicket for another
So instead
clue.
he's just going to the Thicket, okay.
So he's definitely threatening to grow this Tireless Tracker and stop a threat.
Yeah, so from Viper Fang, I'm sure I'd be pretty happy here. You know, getting to Reflector Mage something back would be perfect. We're not seeing, you know, just this run-out hand from Fun Phoenix like he potentially could have done.
Mm-hmm. I'm very, very curious to see here. This Reflector Mage could be just an absolute blowout. It would enable him to swing in for an absurd amount of damage.
Yeah, so he wouldn't even have to use the Hierarch to cast it. So he'd be able to get 2 from the Hierarch, 4 from one Thalia's Lieutenant, and 2 from the other. So that's 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, that's... I mean, that puts him on a...
Yeah, it's a 2-turn clock. It's
2-turn clock.
reasonable.
I think that's very reasonable.
He could also throw out this Champion of the Parish first, which would be a bigger board presence. Actually, that's probably better overall, because the 2 damage from the Hierarch is negated by the... So he needs to play the Champion first, or he will not grow it.
I don't think he wants to grow it. I think he's got him on a 2-turn clock here and says, hey, you need to answer my board in 2 turns. You can't use that Tireless Tracker next turn to answer this board, so you need to find almost exactly Merit Lage. And even if he finds Merit Lage, he's got another Reflector Mage here.
Yes, so he's got the Tabernacle.
And
Okay,
most of his
so-
creatures are above Punishing Fire range.
So he's throwing down the Champion anyway, so...
I
it is
don't
an
agree
option.
with that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously if you're going to go for the Champion line, you'd want to do it first. That way the Champion would have been a 2-2. This is the same amount of damage, so I don't disagree with it in that aspect.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage here, so he's pretty much on Tabernacle or bust. And even Tabernacle's not exactly going to save him. So draw is a Dark Depth. There's the Thespian stage. Alright.
Now, that doesn't wall the board, though.
Does not wall the
So he does still
board.
need to... I would expect he has enough mana and enough land drops that a gamble finding the Tabernacle will help.
Yeah, game will find Tabernacle.
Actually,
We
at
have
this point, I think he
Loam.
might need to grab Glacier.
Yeah, there's the possibility of Glacier walling him, buying him enough time with 2
Yeah,
land
he
drops a
doesn't
turn. I definitely think
He
it's
doesn't need a super
possible.
long time. He can get rid of these 2 lands in the meantime, and then hopefully be able to find, you know, either get this Merit Lodge into play, or... Yeah, probably just go for the Merit Lodge if he doesn't have a way to grab Tabernacle.
Yeah. This should either be a Tabernacle or... Well, let's see. If he pays... He can pay for 3 things, which is still enough to kill, so this has to be a Glacial Chasm.
That's what I was thinking. And just doing the quick math, he does have enough that if he discards the Glacier Chasm, he can absolutely
Oh, yeah.
play it
Oh,
in
yeah.
this turn. So
We still
the
have
real
quite
work is there.
quite enough land drops and whatnot to be able to do that. See a fun...
So this is a question. Is this the kind of matchup where you're happy that these are Thalia's lieutenants rather than being Thalia, that the Champion of the Parish is there instead of something like, you know, one of the other disruptive elements we were talking about?
I'm probably pretty happy. Last point of life that matters is the last point of life, you know. It doesn't matter if you get these beatdowns started nearly so much as it matters if you just get killed or not. So I think this is perfectly fine here for Fun Phoenix. I think he's pretty okay with this. He's going to get back a Wasteland Ghost Quarter, so he has to play Glacial Chasm.
So here's the thing, is he could have saved his... You know, he could have grabbed the Tabernacle just because of... Yeah, I mean, so I was thinking he's got the local Wasteland effects.
Yeah.
He could have grabbed Tabernacle, but the risk there would have been discarding the Tabernacle, means that he could have kept 2 cards around. He would have been able to loan back everything and replay that.
Yeah.
So here's just going to go for the Glacier Chasm. This seems perfectly fine. And I expect that it'll last for a turn or 2, and that's all he needs.
I imagine 1 turn. 2 turns would be...
Now, he has 1 turn here to draw a Wasteland and win the game.
Yep.
Oh, nope.
That is not a Wasteland. That is another Thalia's Lieutenant. I suppose you cast it. You may as well. It's going to make your board gargantuan.
Yeah, I think the argument against that would be that if a... I think I would have held it because with him at 7 life, if a Tabernacle came down, he could have kept just the largest Thalia's Lieutenant around with a Noble Hierarch and then hit a land off the top, making the Thalia's Lieutenant large enough to swing for lethal.
He still has that option by paying with a Noble Hierarch 7 life versus a 7/7 Lieutenant here.
Sure, I guess that works.
So we are cracking another clue.
A clue crack rather than... So that's fine.
Draw is...
so he did not pay for that.
Yeah, so we're definitely loaming to try and get rid of this, it looks like.
I just wanted to make sure that that was noted because he did not pay for that. I believe that... Let me think how that works now. I think that he actually still would have had the chance to pay the life. No, he would have. It would have been Viperfang's option. He could have said, "You have to discard it. You didn't pay the life."
Yeah, Viperfang gets the option nowadays on missed triggers.
So playing
Lieutenant Loam.
Tracker here.
Yeah, so we get Tracker Loam, Loam back Chasm plus whatever else. Chasm again, getting rid of another thing, make another clue. I believe is the line of play.
Chasm, he's going to get rid of...
Forest.
Forest.
So he's going to be trying to float around on these lands for a bit.
Well, again, he's leaving himself open to that Wasteland top deck, so we're
Yeah.
at 4 out of 49 now.
Alright, 4 out of 48.
I don't mind running out this Hierarch. It
Yeah.
obviously is another creature that can create mana, so in case of one of those big effects, he'll have it.
Yeah, and our Thalia's Lieutenants are getting absolutely massive. There's one that can take him out completely alone, one that is 1 away from being able to completely take him out alone. Upkeep, so he's going to pay the 2 life, so now there are a lot of lethal creatures on the other side of the board.
Yeah, but I think that was always true at this point, so it's pretty much
Yeah.
Wasteland or bust from Viper Phoenix.
Ooh,
and
Kozilek's Return milled.
Alright, so Dark Depths comes down.
Yep. And we've got the ability to go for a Thespian stage off of life from the loam without having to pay anything for Grove of the Burn Willows. Then we can let that Glacial Chasm tick down the next turn and attack with the Merit Lace for Xaxes.
Yeah, so not seeing any Vials hurts Viper here, because normally something like Collector Mages, only has 2 of them, both of them are in hand, but those can be quite good if he had managed to get one at a point where he could, play at instant speed, bounce that Merit lot.
Yeah, definitely a limiting factor
Wasteland
here.
on the Ancient Ziggurat, and we'll just pass the turn.
Alright, we're looking for 4 out of 48. Top deck of Wasteland. Bring us to game 4. Better to be lucky than good. Come on, Viper.
Oh, he's holding us out here. This is it.
Oh.
Here we go. Hit the vial. Didn't I just say that's what he needed?
Yeah, he needed that about 3 to 4 turns ago.
7, 8 turns ago? Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that.
Unfortunately, don't believe
And
this
it's
is the...
also not one of his few ways to gain life.
Wasteland wouldn't do it anyways, says, which...
Now, that I'm not sure is true. Why would that have not have worked?
He's at 5, Wasteland that, make a Merit Lace, you can block 2 things. That's enough. That's enough. Yeah, Wasteland was definitely enough. I'm not sure what that was supposed to mean.
Yeah.
But, in any case, GG's to Fun Phoenix, and congratulations on becoming the winner.
Yeah, I did hear Fun Phoenix mention that he does not have a mic available. I don't think he's doing a interview here.
No post game, but we're in the next season anyway. We don't need to
Right.
get a post game going. Are you playing in this season?
Next season, I am playing. I'm playing some Jank. It's fun. I want to
Same.
try out the new Karn, so I'm playing Mud. I am excited though, as the Humans player. IRL is that Tomic is extremely good, to the point where it could pretty much kill
Tomic's
pretty
amazing.
much kill that deck.
Yeah, Tomic I think would definitely help that matchup quite a bit, just being able to shut out these wastelands.
From it. He can't finishing fire through it. He can't use any of his effects. Those are all of the ways that lands wins that matchup.
Yeah, it definitely puts a hurting on that matchup. I'm personally trying out new Teferi in a blue-white show and tell deck. Being able to both leverage a Terminus off of Ponder as well as set up a offensive defense grid seems like a pretty fun way to do things. Won my match earlier today, actually.
I always liked sneak and show decks that were more on show and tell than sneak and attack.
Yeah, it's definitely
in blue-black versions, Omni show basically.
Yeah.
All right, well, that looks like it for tonight. I am going to take off. This was Kevin Finkel. If you guys didn't hear me introduce myself in the beginning, I don't remember if I introduced myself in the beginning.
I think we really just got into it. Yeah, this is Glass Ninja. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you around for the next matches we showcase.
No,